Wednesday kick around. We're going to get into the Open Cup. We had a couple of games last night. We've got games this evening, as you can see right there on your screen. The Revs fall at home. I'm going to come back to that. At home to the Chicago Fire. 3-1 big victory for Greg Berhalter and company. The Fire are a team with a pretty good U.S. Open Cup history. Of course, they won it in their very first year with Bob Bradley at the helm back in 1998. So I'm sure that Greg Berhalter would love to add to the number of trophies in the case for Chicago, and this is an opportunity to do that. A little bit of a mixed bag in terms of the rosters that these teams brought to the field. I saw that there were a number of reserves, young guys with big numbers. The number on the back is higher than, I don't know, what, 30? That you know that this is not a player who's going to get a lot of time in meaningful matches, and the Open Cup seems to be a place for that. The San Jose Earthquakes beat the Portland Timbers last night 1-0. And again, games tonight. DC United, Charlotte FC. DC in a bit of a problem in the league. Charlotte coming off a loss themselves. Minnesota United, St. Louis City. They're in Minnesota. New York Red Bulls, FC Dallas. I saw some mention of the lack of ticket sales, the lack of attendance coming for that New York Red Bulls game, rather. I think they're doing that at Red Bull Arena. Something like 2,000 people expected, which, we could talk about the way that these clubs sell or don't sell the Open Cup. And again, I mentioned I'm going to come back to the Revs being at home, quote unquote. Orlando City, Nashville, Philadelphia Union, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. There is the last lower division team left in the competition. I would imagine a lot of people that watch this show, a lot of American soccer fans, are rooting for Bob Lilly and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in that game. Nothing against the Union. I don't have anything against the Union. The Union actually, they're a pretty likable team in most respects. They commit to developing American talent. They play really hard. They've got a vibrant fan base of their own that I think has done a lot for American soccer. But come on, who's not rooting for the underdog story? Who's not rooting for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to spring that upset in Chester? I talked to Bob Lilly on the radio yesterday. And, I asked him, would you prefer the lower division teams to be hosting these games? Now, of course, Bob Lilly says of course, we would love to be at home. They beat NYCFC at Highmark Field in Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh in the last round. 96th minute winner in that game, by the way. Of course, they'd rather be at home. But, and as a rule, this is something we talk about. Should the U.S. Open Cup the format be changed so that the lower division team hosts whenever is possible? Sometimes they might not be appropriate venues at certain stages, I guess. But wouldn't you rather have these games in places like Highmark rather than in Chester, where there probably won't be a big crowd on a Wednesday night to watch Philadelphia play Pittsburgh, even though that's an in-state rivalry and should have a lot of heat to it? In a different universe, an Open Cup match between those two teams is one of the most anticipated games on the schedule. Austin FC and Houston, that's a Texas rivalry matchup. All right, so here we are. Let's come to what I was talking about with the Revs. Okay, so the New England Revolution played in Providence last night. They played at Providence College. I'm going to show you a quote. This is what head coach Caleb Porter had to say about playing the game at Providence College. He said this a couple weeks ago, I think after the last round. He said, I think it's good to branch out a bit in these cup games. We're playing some different guys. We're developing players. Again, saying basically we're not going to play our best players at this point in the tournament, round of 16. In some ways, we're stimulating our fan base in different ways. We're developing our fan base in different markets. I think it's a positive. You look around the league, you're never going to get a packed stadium in an Open Cup game. Why, Caleb? Let's talk about why. Why should there not be a packed stadium for an Open Cup game? How much of this is on the clubs and a lack of marketing around these games? How much of is it an inability of these teams to commit to educating their fans about what is going on here? I understand it's midweek, and midweek is hard to sell, period. But there's no reason that these teams can't do better than they are. It's much better to be in a smaller stadium and have an intimate environment. Look, I actually have an image. This is from Providence College last night. Random shot, 66th minute. Chicago up a goal. How many people I can count the number of people in this picture if I wanted to. This to me, and again, this is what is, we got an artificial surface with a big logo in the middle. No offense to Providence College. no offense to Big East lacrosse, right? The Friars are trying to get it done, and I don't know, maybe they don't have the money to throw at a big stadium. Probably don't. This frustrates me. This indicates to me a lack of respect on the part of teams like the New England Revolution when they're in this tournament. And Caleb points to the Sounders making runs at Starfire back in the day. The fans embraced it, the team embraced it. You know why? Because the Sounders had done the work to educate their fans about what the Open Cup was. And even though they played at Starfire, and, I would prefer we don't do that. Play in your regular venue, try to sell as many tickets as possible. If you need to paper the joint, if you need to give tickets away for free to get people in the building to watch the Open Cup game, I mean, come on. Why would this game between the Revs and Chicago, why does it need to be played on that? Does it not disrespect the competition at this stage to be playing in a venue like that? I'm not sure that Gillette's all that better surface-wise, but my point is it looks terrible. It looks like how can we get to a point of the Open Cup feeling like a big-time tournament if it looks like this on television? That's it. That's my little rant on the Open Cup. Not everybody is bothered by this, I'm sure. And again, across Major League Soccer, teams choose to play in smaller venues because of cost-cutting measures, right? Caleb Porter is towing the company line and saying, oh, this is a way to spread grow our fan base down to Providence. Yeah? Is that what there's Rhode Island FC, by the way, exists in Rhode Island. I'm not saying there needs to be territorial concerns here, like, oh, they can't step on the turf. I'm just saying, is that really doing any of that work that Caleb Porter suggests is happening? I'm not so sure that that's the case.